Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. It is Thursday morning. I hope your week has been going really well. That you've been nailing those goals you set for yourself this week. And there's perhaps just enough time left in this week to get around to the things, the goals that you haven't quite gotten around to yet. Our theme for today is surrender. And I've got a few thoughts from Swami Vivekananda that helps us into our meditation today. Sunmari, good morning, and Linda, a very good morning to you. So surrender is the theme. What exactly is surrender when it's not just a pretty word that makes me sound all spiritual? How do we become really practical about the benefits of surrender? It's really easy to resist, and I guess for most of us at some point in our lives at least, resist the idea of surrender, because surrender feels like if I surrender, I'll be allowing the things around me to control me. Surrender sounds like I'll be at the mercy of my environment. So often it's helpful to approach something from the opposite end and have a look at what the opposite of surrender would be. Anthony, good morning. Good to see you, man. In the absence of surrender, we are always fighting what's happening. In the absence of surrender, we are always in resistance, always in survival mode. And if I always react to my environment by fighting, then the truth is, I am at the mercy of what's happening around me. If I'm not surrendered, my environment is 100% in control of how I act. Surrender is how we free ourselves from being controlled. Surrender allows us to be okay despite what's happening around us. Hey Maggie, good morning, good to see you. Surrender teaches us that we can even be happy no matter what's happening around us. And now in this place of surrender, my options are no longer just fight or flight, because surrender helps me see that there are many more options available when I'm not in a state of reactivity, resistance, fear. So a few thoughts from Swami Vivekananda before we get started. He says, the whole secret of existence is to have no fear. Never fear what will become of you. He says, that man has reached immortality who is disturbed by nothing material. Never think that there is anything impossible for the soul. It is the greatest heresy to think so. If there is sin, this is the only sin, to say that you are weak. In a conflict between the head and the brain, in a conflict between the heart and the brain, follow your heart, says Swami Vivekananda. And to me, all of those speak to surrender. Last thought before we get started is, when you are fighting and in fight mode, you limit yourself to the results that are possible from fighting. But when you surrender, you're opening yourself to the results that are possible from cooperation. And that's a lot bigger than fighting. So if you're ready, here we go. Today's meditation is called surrender. You can close your eyes and let's float away, starting with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. The deep breath in and out. A deep inhale. And let it go. Deep breath in. And out. One more big breath in. And let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. As you fill up your belly with air, feel yourself grow from your core, expand outwards in all directions. And once you reach your full height and you have a belly full of air, let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. Every time you breathe out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and drop your head. When you fight, you are limiting yourself to the results that fighting could bring. Which doesn't say that fighting is not sometimes necessary. But when you're in resistance to, when you are fighting things and the people, what are all of the many things you are excluding, not given access to, because of your resistance, because of your shutdown, because of your fighting? When you are in surrender, you open yourself to the results available from cooperation. When you're in surrender, what have you become open to? Open to seeing, open to noticing, open to hearing. You're being inclusive. you're creating an environment that allows more and wider cooperation. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, helping our bodies stretch, adjust, and settle down into as much comfort as possible for the rest of our journey. Let's take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward. And roll out your neck muscles, going forward and to the left, and forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. And as you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. And as you release, focus on your spine. See if you can tilt your head to the left while you tilt your hips towards the right. And switch sides, turning or curving your spine into an S from your head down to your tailbone. One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence, as much as we can at least, we can turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. With every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. Let's take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, make it the longest, slowest exhale that you can. Take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, feel into your body and become aware of which muscles can you feel softening. Take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening. Feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in. And hold. And as you release, feel yourself melting. Feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath, but hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, remind yourself of the theme of today's meditation. Surrender. What does the word mean to you? What picture does the word paint for you? Surrender. Take your next big breath. We'll start this journey on the opposite side though, the absence of surrender. Remind yourself of your own actions in the absence of surrender. Might be recent, might be longer ago. How do you react, when things don't go the way you wanted them to? Do you have an example of your own reaction, your own reactivity? When people were doing or saying things the way you believed it shouldn't be done or said. When your day didn't go the way you really wanted it to go. Bring to your mind an example of your own past reactivity. Take your next big breath. I like the image of splashing in our pond. And that this is a visual representation of what our reactivity does. Imagine yourself standing with half your body in a pond of water. And our reactivity, our reaction to what we didn't want, what we don't like, fear really, so often causes us to splash in our pond, flail in reaction. And the moment we are splashing in our pond, then we lose whatever clarity we might have had, because we're stirring up silt and mud. The pond becomes murky, and the surface, the waves of this pond, become choppy. Can you relate? Can you find the picture of you splashing in your pond? At the moment we don't see, the moment the clarity disappears and we look down, we see only muddiness. We can't see what to do next. It tends to create even more fear. And in fear, we react by splashing even more. Take your next big breath. Our splashing in our ponds is often infectious. When we splash in our ponds, often the people around us splash in their ponds too. Now you're yelling, he's yelling, she's yelling. And the more splashing and fighting happens, the less clear it is to see what do we do to make this better. Doesn't matter what I say or do, the reaction's wrong. There are other examples too, but you get the idea. What picture does it bring up to you? If you're reactive, the people around you are reactive, you're trying to sort something out, but everyone's reactivity has really muddied the waters. And it's very unclear to know what is the next best thing to do. Take your next big breath. How often do we, with a storm in our pond, look down and see our own reflection on this choppy surface? And then buy into what we see? What does your reflection look like when you look at yourself in the middle of a storm? When you look at yourself when you feel terrible? When you look down at your reflection on this choppy pond that you've been splashing in, it is obvious that you will see a broken image, a fractured, fractal image of who you are. In this moment, in which we already experience fear, seeing this image of ourselves and believing it takes fear up another notch or 10, because I start to believe that this is who I am, this broken, fractured thing. Take your next big breath. This is what surrender does. It teaches trust. I start learning to trust that when I feel the way I do, when I realize, and I have to come to awareness before I realize, that I can never trust what I see or feel when I'm in the middle of this storm in my pond. Because I can look back and see many experiences before where I trusted what I saw, and it turned out to be wrong. The trust that comes from surrender in the past is what helps me step out of this pond. I know where this goes, and what happens when you step out of your pond. And instead of letting fear allow you to splash more, you trust that this will change when you first do nothing. And use the time of doing nothing to really see what is it that I'm dealing with? What is it that the other humans are experiencing? To really listen. Listen past the answers my fear is giving me. Let me really hear what these other humans are experiencing. And for the moment, step out of the pond. What does that picture look like to you? Take your next big breath. The water becomes calmer. The mud settles on the bottom. And I can start seeing again where to take the next, more clear step. I can start seeing again what might be the most helpful action to take right now. And what's more, when I look down at the surface, at my reflection on the surface, there's no longer a storm in my pond, but the surface is smooth. I have returned to my natural state, just like the water always does. And now I get a much more realistic image of who I am. Learn to not trust the image when there's a storm in your pond, but wait. And then learn to say hello to this calmer image every time you see it. Be deliberate about loving this calm image so you can remember what it looks like. Take your next big breath. we'll take one more big breath together, slipping out of the breath holding space and into the next. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, you can feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back or even lie all the way back down and just watch your calm and still pond. Surrender is not the opposite of taking action at all. Surrender is what leads me to seeing with clarity where to take action and where to let go. If I'm always reacting to my environment, then I am 100% being controlled by what happens around me. Surrender is how I escape that control. Surrender is how I get to the point of choosing with clarity. Here is how and where I'll take the next step. Or here is where I'll step aside and not participate. This doesn't mean that we never fight. There are moments when the wisest course of action is to step up to the fight. But let that come from wisdom. When it's clear that this, in fact, is today the most helpful step to take. Surrender always leads to clarity, and clarity always leads to right action. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning from the storm in my pond. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for very clearly seeing examples of my own reactivity and how it creates a bigger and bigger storm in my pond, but not just that, how it is infectious and it creates splashing in the ponds all around me. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for having learned and at least getting better at it, to not splash my own pond, even when there is splashing around me. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for the clarity that comes with this calm pond. A clarity that often says, while someone else is splashing, that there's not a lot I can do to clear their water while they're splashing. There's not a lot that I can do to stop their splashing. But I can choose not to increase their splashing. I can choose not to say or do the things that I know will only make them splash more. I trust that we'll both get to calm ponds, and then we are more likely to both speak and see with clarity. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for being the calm influence to the world around you. Thank you for contributing to less splashing in the world around you. Pepe, good morning. It's good to see you. Happy you popped in. Thank you, Estelle. Thanks, Anthony. Thank you, Maggie and Linda and Sunmary. Hope you have a beautiful day. Hello from Ellery. We'll say hello to Ellery from us as well. Have an awesome day. See you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.